Today we're going to be discussing the top 10 sci-fi MidJourney prompts. This was a suggestion by Game Talk X, where he requested 10 sci-fi styles plus best artist. And after research and exploration, these are my top 10 favorite sci-fi prompts. A couple of things to note before we start. I'm using model 5.2, and I'm keeping everything stylized at medium, though I will change this from time to time, and I'm keeping my variation at low. And there will be one or two prompts that use the niji model. As always, all prompts will be found in the video's description. Here we're going to be using the same prompt, a futuristic explorer in a tomb, but infusing it with different styles. The first one is Ashley Wood. So our prompt's going to be futuristic explorer, tomb, illustrated by Ashley Wood. Ashley Wood, renowned for his Metal Gear Solid comics, and we can see that MidJourney interprets this prompt through Wood's lens, giving us a raw and gritty depiction, one that we can feel the weight of the intense textures and the intrigue of muted hues in these images. Now we're going to use the same prompt, but now it's going to be futuristic explorer, tomb, illustrated by Sam Kieth. Sam Kieth, the genius behind the Max. So, with Keith's distinct touch, the explorer's tomb becomes a whole different realm. There's a surreal quality with distorted characters and landscapes that echo the emotional depth and visual style of the Max. Now, before we dive any further, it's pivotal to highlight the standout mode of MidJourney, known as Niji model. This is an anime-specific AI, and it's a collaboration between MidJourney and Spellbrush. Constructed on its own unique architecture, it's distinct from the standard MidJourney model. The Niji model is uniquely calibrated for anime and illustrative styles, producing dynamic, action-packed visuals with an impeccable emphasis on the characters and their compositions. To harness Niji model's capabilities in MidJourney, simply add --Niji. So now let's look at the same prompt, Futuristic Explorer, Tomb, illustrated by Katsushiro Otomo. Now, Katsushiro is the visionary creator of Akira. Now when we're looking at these images, we can see that introducing Otomo's essence into the mix would immediately transport it to a tomb full of bustling tech, a dynamic energy that's so associated with the iconic Akira. Now while I was working on this, I thought that, hey, maybe I could add some neon lights or do some other adjustments to the prompt to make sure that the colors are more closely matching the style of Akira. But for this test, I wanted to make sure that we're all looking at the same composition or same layout, right? But only the style and the influence is changing here. So I didn't want to alter that too much. Now let's jump into our next one. Futuristic Explorer, Tomb. Now I did make this black and white and illustrated by Hiromu Arakawa. Again, this is using the Niji model. So, Hiromu Arakawa. So we can see that the explorer's journey is translated into a captivating monochrome manga scene. There's an intensity and narrative drive in every detail, mirroring the gripping tales of Full Metal Alchemist. It's astonishing to witness the same theme morphed in such diverse ways just by changing the artistic influence. The core prompt remains unchanged, yet the end visuals and emotions vary drastically. This truly highlights the power and versatility of combining AI with the world of artistry. Now we'll continue to move forward. Do note that some of these prompts will have artist influence and other prompts will not. But feel free to explore. Feel free to add artists that you really love into these prompts or change the artists that I'm referencing. So now let's look at the next prompt. Busy Cosmoport, Outer Space, Saturn Orbit, illustration by Bob Layzell. Now Bob is distinguished for his captivating space and sci-fi illustrations during the 70s and 80s. So when visualizing a bustling cosmoport in Saturn's orbit, we see that one can almost anticipate a panorama filled with gleaming spacecraft, intricate docking platforms, and a vast expanse of stars and celestial bodies, all reminiscing of Lazelle's iconic space art from the golden era of sci-fi. Now let's look at our next prompt. hyper-detailed painting of endless, brilliant stars in outer space, a nebula, a magnificent, deadly destroyer spaceship, galactic, futuristic, sci-fi, science fiction elements, deep color, bold outlines in the style of John Berkey. So John Berkey is celebrated for his iconic space and futuristic artwork, most notably for creating the original Star Wars poster. So envisioning the vastness of outer space through Berkey's style, this conjures up images of deep saturated colors and bold outlines. This destroyer spaceship, as one might expect from Berkey's hands, becomes an awe-inspiring and formidable presence, effortlessly juxtaposed against the serene backdrop of a galaxy filled with brilliant stars and swirling nebulas, reminiscent of his classic Star Wars visual aesthetics. Now, I do want to note that I actually tested this same prompt, but instead of saying John Berkey for the style, I was curious to see if the style would change. But as you can see, all these images are relatively close together. It's hard for me to say changing the reference really had a dramatic or honestly any sort of change on the final output. The images look exactly the same. But now let's completely switch it up here. Now our next prompt is Cyberpunk Techware Streetwear Look and Clothes. Octane render, full-body character portraits, glasses, highly detailed and intricate, golden ratio, vibrant colors, hyper-maximalist, futuristic, techwear fashion, Errolson Hue, Nike, ACG, depth. So if you're not aware, Errolson Hue, the core designer behind Acronym, and collaborator with Nike. So Hue's designs are the epitome of sleek and functional techwear. This is one of my personal favorite prompts. I love the vibrant colors that it's using, from the deep magenta/purples to the vibrant yellows. The cyberpunk aesthetic is definitely present in these images, and it's fantastic. Also, I was interested to see what the output would look like if we changed these models to male models. So I just replaced the keyword character portrait to male model. Now these images are a little bit darker than the female model ones, and some of the cyberpunk aesthetic, especially in the backgrounds, seems to have been lost. But I feel that maybe with some additional retries, I can get pretty close to where I was with the original renders. Now moving on. Next prompt is white blonde woman face and torso, black transparent shiny plastic parts for her body, with printed circuits and cables under the transparent plastic, underwater, in a submerged canyon, undersea ambiance, dark atmosphere, submarine lighting, ultra-realistic, hyper-detail, sharpened, depth of field, and ambient occlusion. Now I was really hoping that the final image would be an underwater realm where the pristine, beautiful woman is juxtaposed against the technological complexity of the transparent black plastic and circuits. And the contrast between the organic and synthetic is there, but I was also hoping that it'd be surrounded by the organic elements of water. While it didn't completely capture that, I can definitely see the circuitry, I can see the plastic, and the renders that it provided look extremely real. So I was really happy with those results. Now here's another prompt. Hyper detail, Harajuku fashion, futuristic fashion, anime girl, headphone, colorful, reflective fabric, inner transparent PVC jacket, backpack, Pix IV. And this came out fantastic. Not just imagine you're stepping into the bustling street of a future Harajuku. An anime girl embodying the spirit of both the past and the future dons a pair of headphones. Her attire speaks volumes. The shimmer of her reflective fabric catches the neon lights, while her transparent PVC jacket showcases the world's evolution in fashion. A visual story of Tokyo's future, where traditional Harajuku aesthetics blend seamlessly with cutting-edge trends. Now for this prompt, I did use the regular 5.2 model, and then you'll also see the samples where I used the niji model. I personally don't have a preference between the two outputs that it provided me. I think they're both great in their own way. I think it would really just depend on the aesthetics and general art direction that you were going for. Now, on to our next prompt. Futuristic Mountainscape, hyperrealism, trending on ArtStation, volumetric lighting, maximalist photo illustration, concept art, intricately detailed sci-fi by Victor and Guy. Please note that for this sample, it was my mistake and I didn't enter that 16:9 aspect ratio. But here's a world crafted by the illustrations of Victor. This image has intricate details and sci-fi elements that converge to breathe life into the landscape of tomorrow. Now, we'll point out that the volumetric lighting that I was really hoping for and expecting isn't really there, but I think, again, maybe if I tried several more times, then I could produce that. But I'm very pleased with the final output. I would love to have this as a poster that hangs over my computer, actually. I would love looking at this every single day. Now, another prompt here. Iridescent futuristic sci-fi spacescape of swirling galaxies and planets and stars and auroras. Twinkling, hyper-detailed, radiant, shimmering, breathtaking, maximalist, psychedelic, floating luminous sparkling stars, fantasy, hyperrealism. With this prompt, you're embarking into a cosmic journey across a universe where fantasy and hyperrealism intertwine. Behold the galaxies that swirl and dance in a radiant ballet, punctuating by planets, stars, and mesmerizing auras. The iridescent glow of this realm, replete with shimmering nuance and psychedelic touches, it paints a maximalist tapestry of space that captures the imagination and leaves one in awe. I could imagine using this as concept art for the Guardians of the Galaxy. And actually, when I used to do a lot of graphic design work, I used to draw a lot of nebulas and text in outer space, so this has a special place in my heart. Now, I do want to note that there was no artist reference, but you can experiment and add your own artist, or any of the artists that we've already named in this video. And now we're coming close to the very end. So, strange, enigmatic, celestial, space, creative, imaginative, woman, sci-fi, mystical. Wander through a celestial dimension where the mysteries of space and the enigmatic allure of a woman converge. Yeah, these are fantastic. I could definitely see a movie with this general art direction, especially the image here on the top right, which is my absolute favorite. I love the way that the moon glows on the rest of the image. I love the little sparkles on the left, on the right, and the futuristic jewelry that it's created to wrap around the woman's neck and around her head. It's amazing. And now we've made it to our very last prompt. Extraterrestrial environment, CryptoPunks and metaverse, best-selling on ArtStation, matte painting, colorful texture paint, moody reflections in the style of John Berkey, Russell Mills, sci-fi grandeur, ArtStation poster art. Now, we covered John Berkey earlier in this video, and so let's talk about Mills. So, Russell Mills is famed for his Nine Inch Nails album covers. So, melding these two masters created visuals that are both expansive and haunting, weaving the grandeur of space with an evocative depth. And that's a wrap for our artistic exploration. The AI inspired by these legendary creators truly crafts a mosaic of emotions and visuals. Remember, it's not just about the technology, it's about the soul and the history it draws from. Thank you for joining our excursion today. If you enjoyed this, do like, share, and subscribe for more. I also do want to make a note. I apologize for mispronouncing any of the names of the artist. And now, my last words, stay creative and see you soon.